Hello, everybody. My name is Vitaly. Welcome to the channel React for Beginners. Today, we will talk about a very important talk, web accessibility. For this purpose, we've invited the great speaker, Glaphira Zhur, accessibility team lead at Zhur IT, Google developer expert for web, Accessibility Club Minsk community initiator, and a cheerful web accessibility mentor. Let's start the talk.
Hi everyone, my name is Glaphira. Thanks for such a sweet introduction and thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here today. So let's get started. I hope my presentation you can see it. So yeah, today we're going to talk about accessibility. It's a really important topic and I'm really proud that this topic is raising kind of. So today you can read almost everywhere about accessibility. I'll show you some places where you can read about it like in details. So yeah, let's get started. We'll talk about the web accessibility and mostly about the SPA accessibility. As I know, this is a free React course, so I tried to stick to this topic, to the React, to the SPA's applications. So to give you some tips how to make your SPA accessible. Yeah, this is me, Glaphira. I am really an accessibility lead at Zhur IT. We have a web accessibility department there, and we work on Shopify mostly. It's a e-commerce system where you can create your own online shop. So Shopify requires accessibility, and that's why we need to know it. Like every developer in our company knows at least a little bit of accessibility, but I'm trying to involve as much people as I can, as many. Yeah. So also I'm a GDE for web. It means I can help you with some mentoring maybe on accessibility. So you can just write to me in Twitter, for example. Yeah, and we'll arrange some mentoring session or something like this. Also, I am a part of the Women Tech Makers community. It's a Google community too. So there we empower women to start their career in development or to encourage them to start talking about their own tech topics. So in case you want to me as a mentor too, so you can still contact me and I will help you in this too. So yeah, and also I can provide you some place where you can talk about accessibility if you really want to talk about accessibility in future. For example, I am a starter of the Accessibility Club Minsk meetups. We have meetups, like 3 of them, at least 3. Yeah, and they're like really interesting. I would like to create an English version of this meetup, so in case you are interested, you can just again come to me and ask for some guidance how to join our accessibility community. Yeah, so also I'm a program committee member of Minsk CSS Minsk JS meetups, and you definitely heard about the Beer.js Summit. It's a cool event, but unfortunately we don't do this years. So maybe in future, but yeah, that was like pretty cool event. Let's start with this term, like accessibility. What does it mean, accessibility? For me, it's more about our interfaces are accessible for everyone, not for some special group of people, but for everyone, for your 5 years old child, for your grandma, for you in future when you're old too. Like our site is pretty difficult thing. We lost vision during the years. So yeah, accessibility is for everyone and especially for us in future. So you can see this small version of this word AL1Y in case you are looking for some hashtags for some topics somewhere. So you can also look for this hashtag AL1Y word. Well, why is it so important today? We have a world disability statistics from the World Health Organization, and it says, but this statistics was created at like pretty like years ago, so it's not the modern one, so they have no data for today. So today it could be worse, but today we according to the statistics, we have 15% of population of Earth's population who has some confirmed disability, like medical condition. So 15% doesn't sound so as a lot of people. So in numbers, it would be about 1,200,000,000 of people. And it's like a huge number. And why don't we care about them? So we should start to care about them during our interface development. I also give you some links here. A pretty cool resource called, not resource, but research called Web Accessibility in Mind Million. They checked a million of the websites, like automatically checked, but they have this pretty cool report which will show you how many errors on these websites, how many of them are accessible, and so on. A lot of interesting information, for particular things, like about the alternative text, about the form labeling, and so on. So it's interesting to check how many websites have no idea about accessibility. So just try and check this report. These people are in this number. There are only people who have, as I told you, the confirmed medical condition, some medical disability. But this number doesn't include the people who have some temporary disabilities, like a broken arm, like some bright light outside somewhere at the street, when you lost your battery in your mouse, for example, and you need to use the keyboard to navigate the interfaces. This is the case for me, actually. A low vision doesn't consider as disability. So, for example, if I close my left eye, I will see like nothing, almost nothing. Like everything will be so. I even can't read this big text on my slide. So yeah, this number doesn't include some temporary disabilities or external conditions. And we still need to think about it. For example, the nice example is the low internet connection. So we still have it, a lot of cases in the world. So yeah, it's a case of inaccessible interfaces. So why do we care? It's not only about, like, of course, it's always about people, but also this is the most frequent question to me after the talk: how to convince the management to start to develop the accessibility. So there are companies, they don't want to spend money or time or resources on accessibility improvement because accessibility they don't need it. Like they don't have users who has some disabilities. Why? Like how they can count their auditory, I'm not sure, but still they say that. So in this case, the legislation will work. So if they are a European company, or from USA, or from Canada, or from Norway, as was said in your in the post to this stream, they have this legislation, they have the requirements for the accessibility. So the company need to create this inclusive environment, especially in web, especially during the COVID, when everyone is kind of have a distant access to some shops or something like this. So in this case, we really should rely on accessibility. So yeah, it's cool to have some laws which will regulate the situation, like which will force the companies to start the accessibility development. And also the number of the cases is increasing. I mean, like the lawsuits is increasing like every year. I give you the link, and this is for United States, but still they have like about 3,000 cases per year when the user comes to the law and says, to the court and says, I have troubles with this website, give me my money back, and so on. So the companies are in a bad position here in case they have no accessibility. Yeah, so this is our motivation, like not like people, of course, but still the legislation. And then let's discuss our ways how to implement accessibility, where to find the requirements, where to find the standards, and so on. And let's start with the requirements and standards. First of all, there are like for the web accessibility, especially as for simple, like we have standards for HTML, CSS, JS, blah blah blah. But for accessibility, we do have some technical way to implement the accessibility, like using some special HTML attributes and so on. So we have this specification called accessible rich internet applications, which is describing a lot of stuff. For example, in case you need to implement some like label for the element or some custom component, you should go here and check your possibilities. For example, let's find something like the most frequent case is to create a custom combo box. We have a role called combo box, and here you can find, in case you can't use the native select element, in this case you would love to I would say you would love to um, still provide some accessibility, not only divs like which are not accessible at all, but to give some meaning to this control, to give it the purpose, the role, to create some understanding for the user what this component is and what it can do for the user. So, for example, the combo box role has a lot of information here, how to implement it, especially some small examples. So, like in this case, I have an input which it has this role combo box, and also the list which is like goes from this input drops. Yeah, so this is the specification. It's pretty big, a lot of attributes here, like everything is pretty, like I'm pretty sure you are not familiar with this nice sweet specification. So yeah, in case you need to implement something, just go here, check which role supports which attributes and so on, so just to be like updated. And this version is the last one, the 1.2. It's still kind of a draft, but it's like a candidate recommendation draft, so you can start to use it. And all the tools which are checking the accessibility, they already use this particular specification, so it's okay to use it. Yeah, about the standards, about the guidelines and the requirements, we have this again a big document, difficult to read, called Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And this document contains all the instructions, what should we support, how should we support it, and so on. So yeah, it has four like sections, and a lot of criteria per each section, and also three accessibility levels we need to support. Like I'll show you on the other document. It's a bit simpler. But here you can see just plain a lot of text, I would say, with all the success criteria we need to implement in our websites in case we support accessibility. So yeah, this is the source of everything, source for the laws, source for the requirements, and so on. So this document is the main one in case you need to implement accessibility and find some guidelines. Yeah, there are 3 versions, like the current version 2.1, but the laws mostly use the previous one, 2.0. Because they are not updated. But we use 2.1 mostly during our work on accessibility. But there is 2.2 with new criterias, and yeah, the upcoming 3 WCAG 3 version, they say that it will be like significantly changed, because these 2, they are not like accessible. I mean, like from the point of view, like the content accessibility is pretty poor here. So you read it and you understand almost nothing. After 2 years of work with this document, maybe you'll understand something, but still, it's pretty difficult to navigate through this document. I mean, like mentally. Yeah, so it's not kind of accessible from the content point of view. So they decided to create the 3rd version, which will be more accessible and will be focused on the mental disorders, mental issues. So yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, there is a simple kind of interactive version of this WCAG guidelines called How to Meet WCAG. And here you can see the filter tab, and these filters help you to choose on which criteria would you work. For example, I choose the version of the WCAG guidelines which I need. Also, I choose some tag. For example, for now, I want to check my labels, and I find the labels tag and just click it. And all the success criteria which are related to these labels, they are shown on this list. So only them. So I can just go through them and just check what I should consider during the labels development. So yeah, pretty cool. Still not that understandable because the text is from the WCAG guidelines. So yeah, here you also can see the techniques how to implement some stuff you found. So yeah, pretty cool place to find some requirements. For example, we always go here to check the colors, check the contrast we need in some cases. So yeah, it's a quick way to get some information. This was the info about the guidelines and specifications we use during the work, but still they are pretty difficult. So this is not the start I suggest you to start from. So yeah, and that's why I want to give you some quick tips how to check your websites, what to check during the development, like simple ones and like more understandable, I would say, with some interactive examples. Yeah, let's start. And as long as we're talking about the React, I would prefer to start with the React documentation. Maybe you haven't seen it yet, but the React docs has special accessibility. It's even the first because of the alphabet sorting. Yeah, so accessibility page, which is containing all the requirements you should like check during the development your React application. Yeah, so just a quick let's go quickly through this, but the document is pretty big and it's difficult to get the whole idea in this case, it would be nice to have some outline before the document, like all the headings with the links to the sections. So it would be cool. But I have this, and it's still related to accessibility. I have a nice, oh my God, extension called headings map. It shows me the outline of the document. So here I can see the main topics of this page. So I can see that while development, I need to check the standards and guidelines, the semantic HTML, the accessibility of the forms, focus control. So yeah, a lot of stuff. Still, all this information doesn't related like really to the React. It's mostly about like HTML in general, some practices in general, some focus management, and so on. So they just show you some ideas in React how to use some stuff. For example, how not to add some extra divs, for example, to your code. Yeah, so a good document. So please go through it, check everything here, just read it once, and it will be enough to create some empathy to your users, and yeah, some understanding of your application. What can it do after all? So what can you improve now today? Yeah, so this extension headings map works only because the page has a good heading structure. So all these nice big texts are marked up as headings, like and with a good level. So I see the clear, understandable structure of this page, and this is where accessibility starts. So yeah, for this page at least. So yeah, please check the React documentation. But I would like to focus you on some specific places in the web development, I would say, in general. And still, there are some special things for the SPA applications. So the first would be the page structure. We just talked about the heading structure. It's also a part of the page structure. So it's important for the user to navigate through your page in an easy way. So if you see the page, you can see the sections, these blocks, like where the heading is, where the main content, where the side menu, where the footer, and so on. So you can see everything pretty clearly. But in case you don't see at all, so if you're a blind user, for you it's really important to still get the page structure, and using the landmarks you can provide this experience to every person who can see your website or see it poorly. So landmarks, it's a bunch of tags: navigation, main, aside, section, but not always, banner, footer, search landmark, something else maybe. So not so many landmarks, but still, if you use them during the development, if you use them correctly, which is sometimes difficult, especially for the React applications, because you work on a component, you work on some small piece of the interface, so you don't see the whole picture of the page. So at the end, you really should check the page structure. Let me show you a quick small example of the code. So what we can see here, it's just a simple HTML document, and I want to focus you on some things. Like first, I use the lang attribute for the HTML. Like you must set the correct language of the page, because the soft which will read the page called screen readers. It's a separate soft. You can just install it to your operational system or use the inbuilt one, because almost every operational system has this pre-built screen reader. For example, for Windows, it's called Narrator, so you can find it in the list of the pre-installed programs. For iOS, Android, it's VoiceOver and TalkBack. For Linux, they have Orca screen reader. Yeah, so we already have something which will read the content, and the screen reader relies on the web, on our heading, on our page structure, on the tags we use, on their type. So if you write everything with divs, div does not have any type, so it's just the assistive technologies will ignore divs, spans, and something else, but mostly these two. They doesn't mean anything. But in case with the semantic tags, they mean something. They have their type, and according to this type, they have also some function. For example, the main tag will be announced as a main content for the user, as long as the user is in this area which is marked up with the main tag. So yeah, lang attribute is pretty important. Also, the title element is like must have. And the title should be unique, and it should be like for each page it should be unique. And for the SPA, you see, we have this trouble when you don't change the title. Title is the thing which will be shown at the top of the browser. So in this, we don't see it, like we don't rely on it, so it's not important for us. But for the people who don't see your website, the title is pretty important. It's the first thing they hear, so when page is loading. So we need to change it for every page. And with the common applications, with the simple HTML websites, it's easy to set title for each page. But in case of the SPA, it could be a bit more difficult. Yeah, so title should be unique for each page. Here I have a simple structure: header, main, and footer. And in the header, I have this special skip to main content link. I'll show you it a bit later. It should be the first focusable element on the page, so the first. And it should go to the main tag. So I have an ID, it will work by default. So in case I set the hashtag and main and ID of the element, the link will send us to this tag. But I'm pretty sure you know how it works. Yeah, so by default. And also some navigation, blah, blah, blah. So this is the simple structure, but you should follow this structure. And all the content should be inside the landmarks. So nothing between header and main, nothing. In case it's an important information, in case it's some text. Why? Because the user have a possibility to go through the landmarks with one key. The blind user, the user who uses screen reader. They go through the landmarks, and everything which is between landmarks is not in the user's focus. So that's simple. Landmarks for navigation, headings for navigation. Yeah, about the headings, let me show you the example here. I check the React website, still the same page we saw here. Actually, it's interesting because yeah, I'm not sure why it has this additional. The screen reader shows some additional information about the heading. Not sure why. This is the maybe. Okay, now want to check this. So let me run the screen reader. I have an NVDA. It's a free screen reader for Windows, so you can install it too.
Accessible for
Yeah, it starts to read everything for me, but what I want you to show
needs to be late.
is that the user can see the page structure and the heading structure in one window.
Elements list dialog.
So they have
Community.
these special lists they can open, and then
Type.
they go to the headings tab and they see all the heading structure. Here, the heading structure is not that clear because headings, almost every heading has some additional text before the main text. I'm not sure why. Like something is interrupting the, I don't know. Yeah, so not sure where the information is. So but still you can see the heading structure of the page, also the landmark structure. So in case of the of this website, I can see that we have a banner landmark and some navigation inside this banner landmark. Again, navigation, some I have no idea like which is which, because they have no labels, they are not unique, they just marked up with the nav tag. And yeah, in this case we need some label to understand which navigation is which. And content info, so no main content, no main tag here. Yeah, just banner, two navigations, and the content info. So in case you don't see the website, in case you use this tab to check the structure of the page, you won't see the main content and you will be kind of confused. Like, is this page that small, or is there some content? And you will go to the page and will try to reach the content, to find it, to, so yeah, you will need more time to explore it. Because of the wrong structure. Not that wrong, but still, like they still have some landmarks. Yeah, so this is why they are important, because the user can go through them, can navigate through them. I found the link to the new React documentation, like the beta version of the new documentation, and I tried to find there this article about the accessibility. So you see here in the old documentation, we can see the accessibility requirements, the idea how to implement it. But in this article, I only found one related to the accessibility method, which is like really cool and important and useful for accessibility, but still like there is nothing about accessibility in this documentation. So yeah, nothing. So yeah, they should really move the topic here. Yeah, so I just want to show you the page structure, the heading structure, like kind of the wrong one here, with the screen reader still. So, yeah. Sorry. So I open the
React API elements list. Type
the headings list. I see the structure of the page.
Exports link for
but
user.
There are some like
children. Use sync.
It's a pretty big. Oh no,
use
here.
ID.
Here is everything is pretty okay. What about landmarks?
Landmark.
Yeah. Oh, you can see
tree view.
The main section is here, which was lost in the previous example. So not sure. Let me check why I wanted to show you this. Yeah, something wrong with headings here, but I can't see. Yeah, it's not here because yeah, I'm not in the page. The page. Let me just a second. So here, this page contains some, I'll show you through the headings map. This page contains some headings, but there are two like non-unique headings, which are actually definitely not headings. They are the labels for the blog, which is kind of an aside, which is not the main content. So the heading here is kind of redundant. So not sure we really need to use it here. So, and they are not unique. So there are two sections with the same content. And also the level of heading was misused here. This one is H3 and this one is H5, which means this content is under this content. So it's related to this content, but it's not. Like they are two separate pieces of information. They are not related to each other. It's definitely not a child of this content. So it's pretty it's a case, like really frequent case, when you use the level of the headings in the wrong way. So yeah, and this shouldn't be the heading too. So you can't mix the heading levels. Like everything should be structured, like H1, H2, H3, H2, H3, H4. You can't miss the level like H3, H5. You can't do this. You can just only go one by one. Yeah, so the heading structure is pretty useful and important too. So what about the SPA special things? For the SPA, there are some special like areas of the web page which are more about applications than about websites. So on these web pages, there is a special area, the navigation area. So and also like the structure of the page is not that simple as not simple but clear as for the website. I have for example, for this one I have the navigation the right side and the left side. The left navigation is about the page navigation, and the right side is about the website navigation. So in this case there are two navigations, and also the third one is at the top of the website, so three navigations. In this case we need to unify them or to make them unique. So we need to set a label for them. So in case of the single page applications, they are more applications than websites, so they need more like landmarks to use, and these landmarks should be like really cool labeled. Let me show you here
React admin, my first project. Elements type.
The landmark structure. You see, here we have only two landmarks, banner and main. So these side panels are not navigations, as I
What's new?
Understood. It's
Menu
actually
selected. React admin DOM level 4.
No, we have
less
navigation text here.
React admin, my first v type.
Yeah, so for some reason the screen reader doesn't see the navigation landmarks here, so maybe some error or some misusing of the markup, I'm not sure, but still it would be useful for the user to go through the landmarks with the D letter, for example, keyboard key.
Clickable navigation landmark dialog.
I pressed the D key now, and it says like clickable navigation landmark. So it's announcing the type of the landmark.
No next landmark. No previous landmark. No next landmark.
The only one at the page. So there is no main landmark. There is only navigation something. So poor structure here.
Clickable banner landmark search.
Landmark search.
Documentation navigation landmark. Go to homepage visited link.
No, documentation landmark.
Main landmark page table of complementary landmark material UIV5 supports
some complementary, some additional content.
no next landmark.
Oh no, it's footer. Complementary, it's footer. So here we
Material
can hear a bit
elements
more.
list type grouping.
Yeah, so banner navigation main complementary. Cool. Yeah, so I can navigate through the areas with one letter, and this is why it's important to use the landmarks in case they are there. Yeah, so the next issue for SPA particularly would be the change of the title, as I told you before. So on this website, I go to the web page like here, and now the title is kind of right for this. Like let's check the better one. Yeah, here I am in the admin component section. So it says like React admin, the admin component section. So it changed the title. But after I go to the other section, I just press this link and go to the other section, and the title doesn't change. So it's still the admin component. So user of the screen reader can ask what is the title of the page with one letter again. So they sometimes not sure which page they use now. So they need to re-ask, and they check, and they are still at the admin component, but they are not because it's the other page. So with the SPA, you really need to change the page title every time when you change the content. So every time when you use the link to go somewhere, to go to the other page, and it should be the link, because in the React here it's the link, but in the React applications it's mostly a button. So yeah, please use links to navigate to the other page, kinda to navigate to the some place at the page. It still should be a link. Not sure about. Yeah, it is. So cool. Yeah, so not button. Yeah, change the title. For each page, it should be a unique one. And use landmarks and give them labels. I won't tell you how, because we'll stay here forever if I'll tell you how. But you can ask me later and I'll show you. The second important thing is the keyboard accessibility. Almost all the assistive technologies are relying on access on keyboard, so they work through the keyboard, and it's important to support the keyboard, of course. How is it important for different types of users? For example, we have a user who can see everything like pretty clearly, but they use keyboard to navigate through the website, not the mouse, not some touchpad or something like this. They use keyboard for some reason, we don't know. So now I'm pressing the tab key just with no accessibility stuff and so on, just using keyboard. Press tab key, and I have no idea where my focus is. Like there is no focus indication. It's just turned off. So how, you'll ask me? It's because of the outline property for the focusable elements. So I just simply and the outline none property is set for all, like you see, all the links which are in focus. So in this case, I just check it off, and now you'll maybe see the focus, but I'm not sure because there is the other. Yeah, no, there is the other place for the link which focus is. Yeah, this one for all the links, no matter which state they use. Like for all the links, focus is switched off. Where am I? Still can see the focus. Let's try. Oh no, I reloaded the page. No, it's an SPA. No, so not sure what else is. Oh no, it wasn't an out of line. It was cursor pointer. Yeah, sorry. So now I hope, yeah, now you can see this black border around the focusable element. So it should be like this, and we are kind of obliged to hide the focus state because of the design. But for now, in the modern web, we have ways to hide the focus state only for the mouse, but still have it for the keyboard. And we have this CSS special focus visible pseudo class. So yeah, it's really important to leave the visual focus on the page because the keyboard user won't see anything. Also, this skip link I told you before, this is the first thing which is accessible from the keyboard on the website. So if you're a keyboard user, like you see everything clearly, but still it's difficult to navigate through the whole navigation, to go with the tab key through the whole navigation. I'll show you, like, yeah, so I'm trying to reach the main content, but it's forever, like I should go with the tab key through the whole bunch of the links. So in this case, the skip link will help me to go directly to the main tag of the page, or to the section which is presenting the main content. So now I am like directly here. I can use the links from the context and content and so on. So skip link is really important to have, and it's easy to implement. It's just a link which is hidden and will be shown on focus. So you can do it simply with CSS. No JS required. No JS. Yeah. So about the SPA and focus management, our pages are not reloading, and also sometimes we have some really custom components and so on, which, like custom links, custom buttons and so on, and we forget to move the focus to the right place after we press some button or click some link or press some link. So in this case, in this example, I have 3 links. They are simple links. They are referring to the sections, like natively with this hash and name of the section way. So when I use the link, I just go to the section and then I press the tab key. My focus is in this section already. It's natively. So no JS required again. Yeah, but so I can go to any section and my focus will be there immediately. But in case we need some beautiful, nice, smooth scroll to the section, we would use some not native ways, or we would use some buttons, or in case you use the UI, React UI, you would also use some buttons because you don't know what to use, button or link. And here I press the button, I visually go to this third section, and I press now the tab key. The focus is still at the top of the page. It's still on the button. So when I press the tab key, it goes to the first section. So this is what I mean when I say to you that we need to manage focus. We need to move the focus to the section we go. So in this case, we would use the tab index attribute with the -1 value. And after we set the tab index for the section, we can move focus there, because without tab index, for the non-interactive controls, we can't set focus through the JavaScript. Yeah, so just it won't work now. I just show you the syntaxes. Yeah, so for the section we go, or not 1, but -1. The -1 value means that we can focus on this element with JS. There is also 0. 0 make this element focusable from the keyboard. So now I have a focus on the whole section, so and even an outline, but it's a bad idea for the non-focusable elements. And 1 will make this focusable and also will move it to the top of the focus order. So it will be the first, the first thing on the page which will be in focus. So positive values are not, I don't like them. Like, don't use them, please. Please use 0 or -1. According to your needs. Yeah, so you need to manage the focus, especially when you use some nice custom solutions. And also, there is a big issue with the SPA, it's page reload. As I told you before, we need to change the title of the page when we reload, kind of reloading it, but it doesn't reload, as you know. So, and what is the problem? The problem is that screen reader does not announce the reloading of the page if it doesn't reload, of course. So that's what's happening in our single page applications. Let me just close everything else. Let me show you. Yeah, of course. So I run the screen reader. Now I need to go to this navigation section. I would use
component.
Shut up. Oh, sorry. I would use the D key to with NVDA to move directly to the navigation section.
D.
Oh no, 1 second.
Components are one of D.
Of course, no.
D.
Let me
your first clickable navigation landmark React Docs visited link.
Clickable navigation landmark.
Complementary landmark search Mac command key K button.
The search landmark.
Navigation landmark list with 6 items installation visited link.
Now I am in the navigation landmark. So now I press the tab key and focus will be moved to the to this section.
Quick start visited link.
Like directly. So I don't need to go through the whole content with the tab key. If I am a screen reader user, I can only navigate to the landmark easily.
This list, so importing and exporting components visited.
Now I'm going to change the page.
Importing and exporting components. Current page.
It's not that bad solution. In our case, the screen reader announced something. So it says, it again reads the link, which is in focus, and also adds some information like its current page. This information is from the area attribute I showed you before, the specification, where all the area attributes are presented. So there is a special area attribute which helps the screen reader to understand the purpose of this link. This link is the current page link, but still our focus is still on this link. So it's not at the start of the page. We don't know like, is it the right page or not? Is it changed something or something is happening? We can only guess. So, and this is not that bad solution. Sometimes we hear nothing, like we have no idea that something changed on the page.
Accessibility application.
I do like the idea that in the new beta docs they have a bad implementation, but in the old one they have a good implementation. So yeah, let's go again to the navigation landmark with the D
navigation
button.
Landmark docs link.
Navigation landmark docs link. It's the top navigation.
Navigation landmark installation button collapsed.
Now it's the right navigation, and I hear the installation button collapsed. So I know there's some list which I can collapse, expand, or an element. So I press the tab key.
Backhand in.
But it doesn't move the focus. I don't know why. Okay.
Navigation landmark docs link. Navigation landmark installation button collapsed. Main concepts. React DOM client link.
So now I'm on the React DOM page, and I change the page.
Navigated to React DOM client.
And it says navigated to the React DOM client page. So it announced that we changed something, that we went to the other page. So it's pretty cool. And this is what we need to do. We need
React.
to announce that we changed the page. There are a few ways to announce it. The most used way is to set focus to the top of the page, or to the first element of the page, or to some hidden element with this text, like navigated to blah blah blah, or to the heading. How to set focus? Set the tab index -1 to the element, and then set focus from the JS after the page kind of reloading, re-rendering. Yeah. So and you will
Main
fix the trouble with the page, with the silent page reloading.
blank.
Let me just switch it off. And also the cool thing is that there are libraries, UI libraries with accessibility pre-built, but they still have some issues with the keyboard navigation. Let me show you. We have this list of the elements, like list of the links. It's pretty much a tree view. So yeah, it's a big one, a lot of links. So what should I do to go to this list to find some link? I just need to press tab like a lot, like for eternity. I don't know. So I just do this to reach the main content, just I showed you before. But this component could be better developed in case they would use the practices. We have the resource where we have a lot of ready patterns, like ready for accessibility, accessible patterns. So in case you create some custom component, you can go here and just check the element, how to implement the navigation in this element, especially with the keyboard. So in this case, I just go to the whole list, and here I navigate one tab to go to the list, and then I use arrows to navigate. So no tabs here, and the next tab goes to the main page, the previous tab to the list, and the previous to the previous element. So easy. And inside the big list of elements, I use arrows to navigate, and that would be a good solution. So we need to manage focus in this place too. A quick idea about the labels. I mean, like the keyboard accessibility is a big topic, but you still need to manage focus, need to move it to the start of the page when page is reloading, and consider the visual state of the focus, because it's really important for the sighted user. Labels are really important for the blind person because they have no idea about your interactive element. They can only hear the word button in a good way if it's a button, not a div. So if the button has no label, the blind user won't understand its purpose. So it's easy. And in case with the buttons with the visible text, it's easy to add some text. It's you won't make a mistake. But in case with in case of the icon buttons, it's like difficult sometimes to understand that they need some extra text, extra label. So I use the automatic tools to check the labels for the buttons. I use the AxDev tools extension. I just scan the page and I got the errors. So buttons have no labels. It's a critical error. In this case, actually, we have no buttons without labels, but I see a lot of icon buttons, and I'm pretty sure they are not accessible. Like they have no label. So why the, like, I just assume why the testing tool doesn't find them. So I just go and check, and they are even not buttons. They are spans, clickable spans or something like this. So I can't interact with them from the keyboard at all. So yeah, it's the other problem. But in case they are buttons, they won't have In this case, they will have label because they have image with ARIA label, but still, yeah. So every icon button should have a label like these ones. Every input field should have a label. For example, this I do like the Minos Pizza website because they always have some troubles. For example, this form has no labels at all, so they use the placeholders, not labels. Placeholder will disappear. Oh no, they have this nice. Let's check. So they have some labels. Okay, let's check how it's connected to the field, because I'm pretty sure it's not connect. Oh no, it is. No, it's not. So how I check the label for the input, I just go to the DevTools and then I choose the accessibility tab here and see what name was created for this field. In this case, I see the options where this name can come from. And in this case, it's from placeholder. But with the placeholder, there is a trouble. When you have data inside your field, the screen reader won't read the placeholder. It will read the data in the field. So the field, like, it has label, but the screen reader won't read this label. So you have no idea what this field is about. But still, they have this visual P tag, which could be a label, but it doesn't connect it to this field. In case with this select, it has no label at all. Like it's even, oh my god, is it? I'm not sure. It's kind of custom component, so yeah, maybe there is no input under this at all. So it's not accessible from the keyboard because div, nothing interactive here. But in this case, we have this switcher. It's an input, so it must have a label, but it has no label because the label which is near this input, it's a label tag, but it's not connected to the input using the name attribute. So yeah, we need to connect labels with the inputs, and we need to every input to have here a name built somehow, but not from the placeholder because placeholder doesn't work properly. Yeah, so I suggest you to check the list I created. It's a list of the accessible components, design systems. You can check some UI libraries which have accessibility in mind. So for React, there are many of them. And you just go to the library, for example, material UI. And in material UI, for each component, we have some accessibility notes. You see, there is a special menu item, accessibility, about this particular component. So they give you some general understanding how to make this component accessible, which attributes to use to make the experience better. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. Also give you a checklists to check your websites. Just read them, just try to memorize them, because they have a lot of nice ideas what to check on your website. So thank you so much for having me. I hope that what was useful for you. Yeah, ready for questions.
Thank you very much for your talk. I have a short question to you. From your experience, what are the top, let's say, two mistakes made by developers in terms of the accessibility? Top two.
Doesn't use the semantics, no buttons, no links, no page structure, and create custom components. Doesn't check the developer doesn't check the accessibility from a keyboard. I would say labels also, because but you told me top two. Yeah, so the user can understand that there is a button and can predict some meaning of the icon. Even like browser even gives the opportunity to check the like to create an alternative text for an item, but in case your button is not accessible, they even won't find it. So it's accessibility from the keyboard, I would say.
Okay, great, thank you. And one more question, maybe. Could you please advise some tool, maybe Chrome extension, something like this, that the developer can use day by day while development?
So for me, it's definitely that one, Axe DevTools, because they have not only the extension for the browser, but also they have an API, a library, which you can add to your testing process of the code. So you can test some components with the Axe DevTools. Also, a testing library is a great testing tool for your code to with accessibility in mind. So something like this. Yeah, there is a lighthouse pre-built in the browser in Chrome. You can check the accessibility here, but the Axe would show you more errors and give you more understanding on how to fix them. So Axe, my choice is Axe.
Uh, Super great. And the probably last question, would you advise what requirements should we follow? Double A with the VCAG or triple A? What, or maybe single A? What is the best right now?
So I do like the idea. The laws requires double A, no less than double A for the common websites, like for the normal ones. But for the websites which are built for people with disabilities, triple A is required. So there are more requirements to implement. But I do like the idea that if the developer doesn't follow the double A, it just hits their, they are not good developers in this case. So at least 1A, because 1A it's not a requirement for anything. So if you support 1A, you are a nice, sweet developer. If you support double A, you are a great developer. If you understands the triple A, understand, so you are, I don't know, this like universe developer. Yeah, so double A is a requirements from the law, but as a developer, we should support the double A too.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any question. Just want to say very big thank you for the great talk and hope to see you soon.
Yay! Thank you too. Thank you too. Hope it was useful.
Yes, definitely so. Okay, guys, then thank you very much for listening. I believe that we will meet you very soon. So please, guys, stay safe and see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.